The most mysterious queen of history, Bilqis, is also mentioned in the Quran. She was the wife of Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. Bilqis' kingdom spread from South Arabia to Africa. There are some things about her that seem unbelievable. Some people believe that she was half human and half jinn. Could Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam, who was also controlled by jinnat and who used them for his work, really marry a jinn? What do Islamic stories say about this? But this story does not begin with a queen. It begins with a small bird, Hudhud. Hudhud was a bird that understood people's words and brought news from faraway places. This small bird helped a queen who previously worshipped the sun and converted her to Islam, which changed history. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel so that more such stories keep reaching you. If you are ready, let's start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nasal Kasama Quran INF. We tell you, O Muhammad, the best stories that we have told you. The message has been sent in this Quran through the Prophet, peace be upon him, although you were unaware of it before this. Surah Yusuf Ayat 3. The soldiers had gathered and were waiting for their leader, Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. This was the most unique army in history. It included humans, jinns, birds, and other animals. Even the wind could take Sulaiman alayhi salam wherever he wanted. The human army had infantry and horsemen. The army of jinnat was invisible to human eyes. This army was scary for the enemies because they could not see many of its members. Some birds and animals were also a part of this army. Lions were the leaders of the animals, followed by tigers and other creatures. The birds included eagles, shaheens, and hudhud. Hudhud's responsibility was to spy. He would fly far and wide, bringing news of the enemy and informing the army. Meanwhile, it was noticed in the army that Hudhud was missing. Everyone started whispering among themselves that the commander would come and see that Hudhud was absent. When Sulaiman alayhi salam arrived, he also noticed the absence of Hudhud. Actually, Hudhud was on the land of Queen Sheba at that time. It had traveled a long distance. Hudhud had decided and realized that he was following some important news. He landed on a tall tree above the city. From there, he saw the streets, houses, palaces, and gates. He felt something strange. It seemed as if people were gathering for some ceremony. He asked another Hudhud who lived there, "Oh, beautiful Hudhud, can you tell me what is happening here?" The other Hudhud replied, "People are going to meet the queen. They are going to perform a ceremony in which everyone will bow down to the sun." The spy bird of Sulaiman al-Haslam was now convinced that his suspicion was correct. He first saw the guards, then the commanders and soldiers, and finally saw the queen on her throne. She got down from her throne and led the people. She raised her hands and bowed down to the sun, and all the people bowed down with her. Hud saw all this and started thinking about how Sulaiman al-Haslam would react to this news. He immediately turned back. After many days of tiring flight, he reached the place where the army was gathered. All the birds surrounded him. A small bird, in anger, shouted, "Where were you?" Our leader Suleman, peace be upon him, asked about you. We hope you have a good excuse for your disappearance. Hud became even more upset and decided that he must meet Hazrat Sulaiman, peace be upon him, immediately. He flew trembling to Suleiman's tent while the Prophet was eating. Hud went in through the window and sat quietly on the edge of the table. He tried to stay away from Suleiman's hands. His head was bowed in fear. He greeted him slowly and raised his head politely, but his eyes could only reach Suleiman's hands and chest. He was so embarrassed that he could not even see his face. While speaking, he focused only on the Prophet's hands. He decided that he should speak first. He had learned a lot from his leader, and he knew that the best way to win Suleiman's heart was to speak the truth plainly. He said, "My lord, I am going to bring to you an important member of a community from a faraway land. I have brought news that you do not know about. I saw a woman from Sheba ruling over her community. She sits on a great throne and has everything that anyone could desire. But I saw her and her community prostrating to the sun instead of Allah. Satan made their deeds look good to them." These words were very effective. Hud was showing that the real reason for his being late was that he was on an important mission. Suleiman, peace be upon him, began to reply, "Of course we must check whether what you are saying is true or not. I will write a letter. You will take it and see how they respond." Hud took the sealed letter and quickly flew towards the court. When he reached there, he sat on a tree in the garden of the palace and looked for the queen's room. He saw a big room with a big balcony. He understood that this must be the queen's room. Taking the letter in his beak, he went inside through the open window and hid behind the ceiling decoration. He saw that the queen was sleeping on her bed. Her hair was spread on the pillow. Her face was very beautiful. Seeing her beauty, Hud felt sorry for her. Why should someone worship the sun despite so much beauty, wealth, and power? He thought about how Satan had misled them. Then he thought that if the army of Solomon were to fight with the community of Sheba, then the result was clear. The queen is powerful, but she cannot defeat the army of the prophet. His soldiers will easily be captured. Hud thought, should I drop the letter now, or wait for her to wake up completely? He did not know what was written in the letter. While thinking, suddenly the letter slipped from his beak and fell on the queen's bed. The queen opened her eyes and saw a lot of things in front of her. She found the letter and immediately started looking around but could not see anyone. Fearing, she opened the letter and read it quietly. This message is from Suleiman alayhissalam. In the name of Allah, the most kind and merciful, I invite you to believe in one Allah. Do not be arrogant towards me. Come to me and bow your head. The queen got angry and again started looking around to see who brought this letter. She called her guards and asked who dared to come to her room. Who did this? The guards were surprised. They said that no one came to the room. They were guarding with their swords and open eyes. They swore that no one came near the queen's room. Meanwhile, the hooded bird was listening to everything, hidden in a small hole. Queen Bilqis screamed. Then from where did this letter come? She showed the letter by holding it in her hand. The guards tried to guess, but no one had seen the person who brought the letter. They were confused and could not say anything. Queen Bilqis immediately called an emergency meeting of her advisors. In the meeting of the advisors, Queen Bilqis said, My advisors, I have received a very important letter. This is from Suleiman. He starts his letter with the name of Allah, who is very kind and merciful. He says, Come to me without any pride. What do you people think we should do? One advisor said, It means that King Suleiman wants us to bow our heads in front of him. This looks like an invitation to war. We should fight. Another said, We are powerful. Let's show our strength and fight. Most of the advisors gave their opinion in favor of war, but a wise advisor suddenly asked, Where is that messenger? The one who brought this letter can only explain to us the real intention of Suleiman. Queen Bilqis replied that she did not know. She said that when she woke up, she found the letter on her bed. One advisor said, This is a bit scary. I suggest that we should wait. If Suleiman can send a letter in such a strange and powerful way without a messenger, then who knows how powerful he will be in the war. So we should wait. Then Queen Bilqis said, When the king wakes up, he will not be able to send a letter. When they attack a country, they destroy everything and weaken the respectable people. I am afraid that the same may happen to us. My suggestion is that we send gifts and then see what the response is. No one opposed it, and the suggestion was accepted. The hooded bird heard the entire conversation and flew away as soon as the meeting was over. It was announced in the queen's kingdom that the gift would be made of gold and jewels. No matter how much it costs, it should be luxurious. They told the queen that Suleiman is a powerful and scary man. Only a very valuable gift can make him happy. Our future depends on his mercy. The artists of the kingdom started working day and night. They used many precious materials. Finally, the gift was ready. It was a gold plate with 2 wolves made of gold and jewels on the edges. When Queen Bilqis saw this beautiful and expensive gift, she became happy. She ordered her messengers to get ready and deliver it to Suleiman. She also sent a commander of her army so that she could get more information about Suleiman's military strength. She ordered her messengers to prepare it and deliver it to Suleiman. She asked Hazrat Suleiman to find out what Suleiman really wants from us and how strong his army is. Hazrat Suleiman had already received the news of the queen's meeting through Hudud. Hud had seen the convoy of messengers flying on the border of the kingdom and quickly went to inform Suleiman alayhissalam. Suleiman alayhissalam understood that the queen was sending gifts and her real purpose was to know his intentions and military strength. Therefore, Suleiman alayhissalam ordered that his army should be ready for the queen's messengers. They stood in a line to welcome them. They also sent their men to meet the messengers. Hazrat Suleiman had only one intention. He wanted them to surrender before meeting him. The messengers of Queen Bilqis suddenly appeared in front of a huge army. They started counting the soldiers and also saw what kind of creatures were included in the army. Their surprise reached its limit when they saw that Suleiman's army did not only have humans but also lions, tigers, elephants, birds, and other animals. They also saw that the army could move from one place to another through the air. Their eyes widened and mouths remained open. This army was like nothing they had seen before, magnificent and scary. It was clear that they could never fight such a force. When they saw that some weapons could move on their own, their fear increased further. They looked at each other and asked nervously, What is this that the officer was showing them? He calmly replied, This is just a small group of jinn soldiers who were doing their morning training. The messengers were even more surprised, and the curiosity to meet Suleiman increased further, but Hazrat Suleiman refused to meet him directly. Instead, he sent one of his commanders to talk to him. The officer invited him to lunch in Suleiman's palace. When the messengers were looking around, they found the gifts they had brought very small and ordinary. However, they handed over the gifts hesitantly and shyly. The officer went to Suleiman's room with the gifts but returned after a few minutes with the gifts. He placed them on the table and said that Hazrat Suleiman has refused to accept the gifts. Then he conveyed the message of Suleiman. Can you please me with wealth? What Allah has given me is much better than you. Take back your gifts. If I come with my army, I will show such power that you cannot even imagine. I will humiliate you and drive you out of your cities. The messenger was afraid. One of them asked the officer, what does Suleiman want? Please tell us clearly so that we can tell the queen. The officer replied that Suleiman wants only one thing. Your queen and your community should bow their heads before him. They understood that this message was for peace, but also a clear warning. The messengers returned to convey Suleiman's words to Queen Bilqis. When the messengers reached, the queen was sleeping, but she had told her servants that if the messengers come, they should wake her up immediately. So the servants woke her up. As soon as Queen Bilqis opened her eyes, she asked the messengers, tell me, what did Suleiman say when you gave him the gift? The messengers told her that they could not meet Suleiman. One of their commanders took the gift and brought it to Suleiman. But alas, Suleiman returned the gift. They also told the full message of Suleiman. Hearing this, the queen bowed her head and started thinking that Suleiman neither accepted her gift nor did he give his messengers protection from his people. They asked questions and told everything they had seen. The queen understood that Suleiman wanted only one thing, that she bowed down before him. The messengers also described the strength of Suleiman's army. When the queen heard that his army included animals and jinns, she realized the gravity of the situation. If she chose to fight, she could lose everything. Now the only way left was to try to convince Suleiman in some other way. She looked at the rejected gift and went into deep thought about what to do now. Then she decided to gather her royal council and war advisors. Will the two great kingdoms go to war? The upcoming meeting was going to be very important. At that time, Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi was holding a meeting in his city. His council included ministers, commanders, war experts, and scholars. 2 lions were guarding. The bird hut was also present there, ready to give a report. Suleiman started the meeting. I thank Allah who has given us so much wealth and power. Although he was very angry from within, he did not show any anger on the outside. He said, how can it be? It is our failure and shame that people worship the sun even when we are alive with the flag of Tawheed. Suleiman, A.S., was ruling not for his glory but for the kingdom of Allah, so he was feeling both anger and responsibility. Then the army commander took the sword in his hand and said, just give the order, I will destroy the throne of Queen Sheba and her community who deny Allah. But Suleiman, A.S., replied, I do not like violence. We should find some other way. I hope the queen will come here to meet me. But before she comes, who is there who can bring her throne here? A jinn said, I can bring it before you get up from your place. You know how powerful I am. But then a scholar, who was given special knowledge by Allah, Ilm al-Duni, said, I can bring it to you before you blink an eye. As soon as Suleiman alayhi accepted this offer, the throne of Queen Bilqis suddenly appeared in front of them. It was like a teleportation which humans had never seen before. Everyone was surprised. The throne was big and magnificent. Everyone kept looking at it. Hud was also there, trying to understand what just happened. In the city of Sheba, both the royal and war council had gathered. Queen Bilqis chaired the meeting. Everyone present in the room looked pale and surprised. The queen said in a tired voice, today we are facing a very difficult situation. Suleiman wants us to bow our heads in front of him. He is threatening to wipe out our power. I want help from all of you to find a solution. The advisors agreed that perhaps only the queen, if she herself goes to Suleman and gives him even bigger gifts, then peace may be established. But they also said that if he refuses these gifts too, then war will be the only way, and this war can erase us from history. Everyone was considering Queen Bilqis as the last hope, so the queen decided to take the risk and go to Solomon's palace. Preparations began, and more beautiful and expensive gifts were prepared for her. Hazrat Suleiman knew that the queen had misconceptions about power and progress. She was proud of her country's industry and technology, but Suleiman wanted to teach her an important truth. Real greatness and true progress are only achieved under the flag of Tawheed. That is, without believing in the unity of Allah, any system eventually disintegrates. If you lose the world but find Allah, then you have one. But if you find the whole world and lose Allah, then what is the use of it? Hazrat Solomon was a wise prophet. He not only ordered for his throne but also ordered to change its design. When Suleiman saw the sun mark on the throne, he said, "How foolish it is for someone to worship the sun. Even if the sun is made of gold, it is dishonest to bow before it." He ordered to change some parts of the throne. The new design of the throne began as per his instructions. Meanwhile, Queen Bilqis was also completing her preparations. She ordered that a convoy be prepared for the journey with her. On the other hand, Suleiman called the best architect of his kingdom and said, "Do you know why I've called you? I want to build a palace on the water, something that looks like a floating palace. Its entrance should be transparent so that only water can be seen when looking down." The architect replied, "If this is what you want, should I use pure glass for the floor so that the water below can be seen clearly?" Suleiman said, "Yes, this is exactly what is required. Can you tell me how much time will it take to build it?" The architect replied, "If you allow the help of jinns, it will be built in 2 weeks. If we get it built by humans, it will take a lot more time." Suleiman agreed, "I will order the jinns, but the floor should be exactly like that, transparent glass, as you said, so that the water below can be seen completely." The architect then asked if there was any order for the roof or walls as well. Suleiman replied, "What is your opinion?" The architect said, "I suggest that the roof should also be made of glass so that sunlight falls on the water and a beautiful view is created. I suggest the walls be made of glass as well." Suleiman liked this idea and ordered to start the work immediately. The construction of the palace began, and soon the magnificent building started rising above the water. As the queen, or rather the head of Suleiman al-Salam, came closer to the land, Hud was waiting for her at the border with an officer. On the way, the queen saw strange things. The stories that her messengers had told were true. This land was full of wonders. The closer she came to the palace, the more surprised she became. She saw a part of the army of Suleiman al-Salam. This was the most powerful, scary, and unique army she had ever seen. Her fear increased further. Her heart started beating loudly. It became difficult to breathe. This power did not seem to be human. There was definitely some divine power in it. Now, seeing everything, she was shocked. She began to doubt the greatness and progress of her kingdom. When she reached the city, her confidence wavered. Her pride and arrogance began to break. Her fear gradually turned into devotion. And very soon, she was about to step into the magnificent palace that Suleiman had built. She had never seen a scene like that before. The kingdom was not built only with wealth and splendor, it also had incredible beauty and artistry. There were golden pillars in every corner, doors decorated with precious stones, and handmade artifacts that amazed her eyes. But the most impressive was the floor of the palace entrance, which was made of glass. Clear water was flowing from below. It was so shiny that it looked like a deep pond. As soon as Queen Bilqis slowly moved towards the palace, she thought that the floor was water, so she lifted her clothes so that she would not get wet. At that moment, her feet were visible. Now we come to the most mysterious part. According to some old sources, Suleiman had made the glass floor not just for beauty but also for a test. As a prophet, Suleiman, who had control over the jinns, had received some hidden information. There were whispers somewhere that Bilqis was not an ordinary human but half human and half jinn. Suleiman knew the nature of jinns very well. He also knew that usually, jinns have hair on their feet. So he made a shiny glass floor so that Bilqis could lift her clothes and her feet could be covered with hair, allowing them to see her and clear their doubts. Bilqis may not have been a normal human being, but why did people believe that she was half human and half jinn? This idea is found in different religious and cultural sources. According to some stories, Bilqis was born from the union of a human and a jinn. According to one version, her mother was a human queen and her father was an ifrit, a powerful jinn. Therefore, Bilqis had human beauty as well as some jinn-like physical characteristics. The Quran does not clearly state that Bilqis was a human being, nor do the Ethiopian texts describe her as the child of a jinn, but rather as a wise and spiritual human queen. These stories emphasize more on her intelligence and purity, not on her physical characteristics. What do Islamic sources say? Most Islamic scholars believe that she was rather a human being. The rumor of her being half jinn was actually spread by the jinns themselves because they did not want Suleiman a.s. to pay attention to her or marry her. The jinns feared that if Suleiman a.s. had a son, He would also rule like his father and force them to serve him again. They served Suleiman, peace be upon him, out of compulsion and wanted freedom after his death, but if his son ruled, they would have been trapped again. Anyway, most of the jinns are liars, not just in the time of Suleiman, peace be upon him, but in every time. Suleiman, peace be upon him, knew this very well, so he made this arrangement to be sure. When he saw the feet of Bilqis and they were like those of a normal human being, his doubts were dispelled. When she walked on the glass floor, Suleiman, peace be upon him, was convinced that she was a human being. Then he showed her the throne. Queen Bilqis was very surprised. Suleiman, peace be upon him, asked her, "Is this your throne?" Bilqis looked at it carefully. She could not understand what to say. It was exactly like her throne, but there was something changed in it. Finally, she said, "It is very similar." Suleiman, peace be upon him, had kept a message under the throne. "We are among those who bow their heads before Allah." Rather, when she looked more carefully, she understood that this was indeed her own throne which had somehow reached her. It was brought here before the dawn of time and was also changed. This was another proof of the power given by Allah to Suleiman, peace be upon him. The queen became immersed in this deep thought. The more she thought, the more she realized how weak and foolish the faith of her people was in front of the wisdom and logic of Suleiman, peace be upon him. That day, she was invited for lunch. Hazrat Suleiman, peace be upon him, sat beside her and started sharing his thoughts. He talked about Allah, the master of all the worlds, the most merciful, the most exalted, the one who created the sun to serve humans. He said that just like butterflies and lilies in the garden serve Allah, the sun has also been created to serve him. It is an insult to human intelligence for a human to bow down before any other creature like the sun. Queen Bilqis now understood that the sun they used to worship was a beautiful trap of the devil. For the first time, the brightness of the sun faded in her heart and a light arose which never sets. Then her advisors came and said that soon the sun will set after our daily prayers. It is time for this. But the queen stood up and said, "You are a fool. Do you also believe that the sun is worthy of worship? The devil has made our whole belief look good. Go away from here without listening to what Suleiman, peace be upon him, said." The advisors got scared and left quickly. For the first time, the queen felt something warm and beautiful in her heart, as if the colors of the rainbow had descended into her emotions. Queen Bilqis felt that now is the time. With deep emotion of entering Islam, she accepted that she had been deceiving herself until now, and she became a Muslim. Soon, the people of Sheba also became Muslims, following their queen. They stopped worshipping the sun and started bowing their heads only before Allah. And it all started with the feeling and voice of the Hud bird, which it felt that day when the rest of the birds had flown ahead. This story, which is narrated in our holy book, the Quran Kareem, teaches us the importance of knowledge, respect for the scholar, and that real knowledge is a gift from Allah for which one should be grateful. If this story has touched your heart and made you realize the importance of knowledge, faith, and monotheism, then definitely share it with your friends and family. Subscribe to our channel, like, and comment so that we can bring more such inspirational stories to you. Your one small reaction and share can change someone else's life.